February 8th, 356. During an evening worship service, Roman soldiers would break down the doors and begin hurling arrows at those inside. This was as a result of a theological controversy that found a root in the political sphere. This moment would cause our figure in history, a North African bishop, to go into hiding for his theological beliefs. Beliefs that each and every Christian today should be thankful for. That bishop was named Athanasius, and today he seeks refuge for his life. This is the In History Show on the Semper Reformanda podcast. I'm your host, Cody Bockelkamp. The theological controversy resulting in today's moment in history was one of the debate of the nature and relationship of Jesus Christ to the Father. And there's a particular theology on the rise, with much dependence and support from Rome politically. So much so that it would threaten the doctrinal foundation of Christianity. That theology was the theology of Arianism. The basis behind this is that in order to maximize the supremacy and unique nature of God the Father, that would mean that Jesus was not on the same level, so to speak. So in essence, where God the Father is eternal and all-powerful, Jesus, according to the Arians, was not. He had simply been made such by God the Father. So roughly 25 years before our moment in history, a major council was convened to handle this brewing theological controversy. That was the First Council of Nicaea, which ended up ruling against the Arian position, giving us the still famous and influential today Nicene Creed. However, the influence of the Arians didn't just go away after this moment. They would continue to work and promote their theology in order to gain an influence and a foothold that it might win the day. So much so that Emperor Constantine himself, the man who called the Council of Nicaea in the first place, eventually began to grow sympathetic toward the Arian position. And remember, we aren't just talking about some low-level pastor or political leader. We're talking about the Emperor of Rome, arguably the greatest civilization of its day. While the Arians continued to work and influence, the only thing they did not count on was the steadfast stubbornness of one man, Athanasius. Athanasius would continue his stand against Arianism, which would end up resulting in him being exiled from his home 5 times. But he refused to give in. And the full story of Athanasius is one that is really too long to tell in full here. Maybe another time. But his stand against Arianism was monumental. The reason it was so influential was because of the influence of the Arians grew to such an extent that there's actually a common phrase that sums up the work and ministry of Athanasius, a ministry that each of us should be extremely grateful for. That phrase is Athanasius contra mundum. Athanasius against the world. But this battle is far from over, Because of the work of Athanasius, many Christians have gotten, unfortunately, lax in their understanding of doctrine. So the question arises, do you personally have an understanding of how to defend the deity and eternality of Jesus? Can you reason from the scriptures why Jesus is the same in essence and equal in power and glory to the Father? As a result of our theological illiteracy, there is a modern movement that has risen, bearing some of the marks of Arianism. And while this movement would argue that they are not Arian, the essential nature of their teaching would be argued otherwise. Quote, "Do you believe in Jesus?" "Yes, we believe in Jesus, who said, 'I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.' We have faith that Jesus came to earth from heaven and gave his perfect human life as a ransom sacrifice. His death and resurrection make it possible for those exercising faith in him to gain everlasting life. We also believe that Jesus is now ruling as King of God's heavenly kingdom, which will soon bring peace to the entire earth. However, we take Jesus at his word when he said, 'The Father is greater than I.' So, we do not worship Jesus, as we do not believe he is Almighty God." Answer to a question on Jehovah'sWitnesses.org. This episode of the Semper Reformanda podcast was written and produced by me. Special thanks to Josh Koval for the music. Thanks. We'll see you next time.